Alright, I have a Taylor Acoustic Guitar here, 410 CE is the model, and the volume knob here is no longer working. So whether I have it on, it has sometimes a little scratchy as well. So my guess is that there's a little preamp board in here. My guess is that the potentiometer of the pot for this this volume button here is toast. They only have a limited lifespan, usually about 10,000 turns. So I've had this guitar for some time, so it's possible that I've gotten up there. But either way, we're gonna have to take this little board out and see if we can replace that pot or get a new board to get this working again. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is loosen the strings and pull them off. So we're just gonna loosen these here and then pop these pins out and just move the strings aside. So I'm going to repeat that for all the other strings. Okay, once the strings are removed, I'm going to also remove the battery just so that we don't do any damage to the board when we remove it. So I'm just going to pop those out. All right, next we need to remove the knobs. So that these just pry right off. Just get underneath them and pry those off. Okay, so it looks like this shaft of the pots actually stick up here. So we can't get a screwdriver to go straight across here. So I'm gonna have to make myself a little jig just by cutting a flat piece of finding a flat piece of metal, cutting a little hole in the center, and make myself a little jig so I can remove those nuts there. Okay, so I just found a piece of metal and just cut a piece off the center there, and I should be able to get that in here and turn that. All right, perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to unscrew those. All right, that's what it looks like with one removed. So you can just see that they're threaded there. So I just had to unscrew that, my little jig here. I'm just going to go and remove the next two. All right, once those three nuts are removed, the board just sort of falls down into the middle there. So there's a cable harness that's running along the side here. I'm just going to have to lift the little hook. I'm just going to have to lift it straight up over top of that hook, and I should be able to pull the board out to the center a bit more. Okay, I just put my camera right inside the guitar here. You can see that little hook that's holding the wire harness in place, so just need to lift the wires up and over the top of that hook, and it should be able to slide it out. Okay, so this is what the preamp board looks like when it's removed. Before I disconnect any of these wires here, I just labeled them so I know where to put them back. So now we're just going to disconnect the wires so we can take this preamp board out. These should be pretty simple to disconnect. This one just has a little tab here, and these ones just have a little tab in the center, and then you can pull them straight out. Okay, and then we can remove this top plate as well. There we go. Okay, so we have all the cables disconnected. So this is the pot that I suspect is bad. And I did some Googling, and this is version 1.1, Expression System 1.1 of this preamp. And unfortunately, they do not make this board anymore. And they don't sell replacement parts for it. The other unfortunate thing is that they actually don't sell replacement parts for these pots either. So what I'm going to do is remove this pot and see if we can find an alternate replacement on Mouser or DigiKey. Okay, I did some searching, and I was able to find one that's pretty close. Unfortunately, this standoff here is a little bit higher than the one that we have, but I'm just going to order it because it's all I could find. It's an RK09L1140001T. That's the manufacturing part number. So I'm going to order that, and maybe we see if we can just cut down the shaft here so that I can match the size of the one that we currently have. Other than that, I looked at the specs, and everything else looks like it will work for this as a replacement here. But yeah, like I said here, the standoff is just a little bit higher. Okay, so I'm just going to use a solder wick now and try to remove as much solder from each one of these joints as I can. It just makes it a little easier to pull the pot off. If I can grab as much of the solder as I can, and then I'll probably use a hot air gun to try and remove the rest. Okay, now I'm just going to add a little bit of flux here, and then use some hot air and see if we can pull that pot off. Okay, so now I'm just going to use some hot air and see if I can move this pot. Okay, so our new pot arrived today, and as you can see, the shaft on the new one's just a little bit bigger, so in order for this one to fit, we're going to have to actually cut it down. And the other thing that we'll have to figure out here is that the pins are going the wrong direction. So you can see this one here is going in a different direction. So I think what we'll do is take the body off of this one and move it onto this one, and then bend the pins so that they go in the right direction. We'll just bend those down, and there we go. So if we bend these, we can get them going in the right direction like that. And we'll put the jacket of this one, we'll take that off. Just there's little clips here at the back. So we'll remove those and remove this one and swap those and see if we can get those to match up. Alright, so we got the jackets off, and pins are all facing the same direction now. As you can see, the new one's just a hair longer, so we're just going to grind the shaft down a little bit so that it's equivalent to the old one. Alright, so I'm just using a file to grind off the end there. So I'm going to just take it in a couple millimeters so it's equal to the other one. Alright, I filed down the shaft of the new pot here, and just to make sure they're about the same length, what I did is I just put the tube cap on just to make sure it's hanging out by about the same amount, so that when we put the knob on it, it won't stick out of the guitar. Alright, the other thing I noticed is that the pins on the new one are just a little bit longer than the old one. So unfortunately, when I put this new one in, it won't set as deep as the other two, so it's going to protrude a little bit more. So we either have to replace all three, or kind of cut the pins here on the new one to match the length. So I think I'm just going to cut these pins here just to make sure that this is actually going to work first before we replace all the other pots on this board. Okay, so I've shortened the pins. So now I'm just going to use some hot air just so that we can get it set in place. Alright, I'm just going to add a little bit more solder to the back of these pins here. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the new pot. Ready to try it out. Okay, so we're ready to put this back in now, and I just put the spacer plate back on top. Okay, so the cables are reconnected. So now we're just going to insert this back in here and line the pots up with the 3 holes in the top here and screw the caps back in. Okay, these nuts are all tightened, so we can put the knobs back on. Just slide on. There we go. Okay, so now we can put the batteries back in and the cap. And now we can put the strings back in. All right, now for the test.